I appear
Yes, morning,
together.
Council. Yeah.
Thank you. I appear together with my learned friend, Mr. Abdikadil, next to me, Mr. Isa Mansul, and Peter Wanyama. That is the team for the applicants.
Okay.
I'm sure maybe Zamba Kitonga may introduce the others.
What's the quorum list? Excuse me. Give me the quorum list. May it please your lordship, our appearances are as follows. Mr. S. Mwendwa and Barak for the respondent, for the first respondent, the Speaker of the National Assembly. Ms. Dhanji for the Speaker of the Senate. Mr. Bita, Mr. Kimani, Mr. Rogers for Attorney General, Mr. Kamodo Waiganjo for CRA, Wilfield Nderitu, Christine Nikonge for Katiba Institute and TISA. I appear with my learned friend, Mr. Steve Ogola for the Law Society of Kenya, and Mr. Njenga Charles for the County Assemblies Forum. Much obliged.
Is there anybody who has been left out from this quorum? Very well. Mr. Ngatia?
Yes, my lord.
And all council, the last time, when we were here last week, I asked you to go and talk. I believe you have talked.
We patiently waited for any signal. None was forthcoming. I believe I talk on behalf of the governors who are present here. We waited for any signal, and none was forthcoming. And there are certain principles of law that may also require your guidance. We are at a situation that the Supreme Court is called upon to also guide the nation on certain parts, certain steps that we take, and usually instead of a step is a misstep. Again, I'm sure I talk on behalf of the governors. But again, my lord, if there was any signal with any seriousness, we would have engaged immediately.
Mr. Kitonga, you want to start? You are the most senior from the other side.
I think the right person to address you on this matter is Mr. Mwendwa.
Very well. Mr. Mwendwa.
That's the National Assembly.
Yes.
Thank you, my lord. My lord, what I can confirm is that both the National Assembly and the Senate have republished the Division of Revenue Bill, and it is scheduled to undergo public participation this week. My colleague here, Ms. Dhanji, can confirm. And my lord, I think that is the only form or way of engagement which you had directed. I confirm that there is an advert which has gone out to the public, and that public includes the Council of Governors, my lord. So perhaps, I think, my lord, give any time, because in our view, and that is what we have submitted, this is a political process which I think, my lord, with due respect, it may not be settled here. So give any time, my lord, perhaps by Thursday, I'm sure parties are able to reach some, because this is purely an engagement, and I'm sure the Council of Governors is not adverse to any engagement with the two houses.
Well, what is the view of the other council?
My lord, for the Commission of Revenue Allocation, I think as much as, my lord, we recognize the publication of the DORA, we recognize that this advisory opinion goes much further than the issue of the publication of the DORA, the republication of the DORA. In fact, the question of the fact that there's a budget process going on in the national government, despite the fact that the DORA has not been passed, is one of the fundamental issues in this opinion. So while that is a welcome proceedings, it does not have any substantive impact on the proceedings before you. And so in our view, my Lord, we need to proceed with the issues raised in the advisory opinion. If there are matters that can be resolved in another way other than through the proceedings of this court, I think parties are not stopped from proceeding. But I think the ideal thing, because there are matters that are still ongoing that have prejudice to the applicants and ourselves, our clients, I think in our mind, it would be ideal that the court proceeds with a hearing on the advisory opinion while allowing for the possibilities of discussions on the many issues, because there are like 22 issues, but some of those may require the actual execution of the court's mandate. Much obliged.
Mr. Kitonga?
I think I agree with Mr. Kamodo that even as parties negotiate on certain aspects of this matter, we can proceed with other matters that are raised in the advisory, in the application for an advisory opinion.
My Lord, for the Senate, I confirm that we have published a division of revenue bill. I also confirm that we've invited public participation. My Lord, however, we propose that the matter proceed to hearing, because if you look at the petitioner's submissions, we are still in mediation on the Division of Revenue Act 2016. There are legal issues that arise every year, and we would like for the court to also advise the parties involved on legal issues that are arising. So even if we go to the proposed method, what we can agree on is the quantum, but on the underlying legal issues, we propose that the court hear us and render an opinion. Thank you.
My Lord, on behalf of the Attorney General, obviously any conversation between the two houses would be a welcome development, but that's a matter entirely between them. And we are in your hands as to how we proceed. But any conversation is to be encouraged.
Mr. Mwendo and Tanji, you know you are the main players in this.
Yes, my Lord, we confirm.
Yes. Mr. Mwendo, you were saying if given time or even up to Thursday, you think you will discuss the matter?
Well, my Lord, the instructions I have is that National Assembly was on recess, but the main committee has continued to work. That is why they have republished the bill. The Senate republished the bill last week. The only thing, my Lord, I think involved in this issue, especially which will affect the Council of Governors, is the quantum. And that will be the discussion between the Senate and the National Assembly. My Lord, you know that this process cannot be kick-started again before the bills are published and considered, one by the relevant committee and the two by the House. And it's at that juncture when now the discussions which are here can now move forward. So I confirm, my Lord, my instructions were that by Thursday, at least the National Assembly will be able to reconsider the division of revenue, the republished bill again. I don't know for the Senate. My colleague can confirm.
My Lord, the Senate already had a first reading on Thursday last week, and it's also in the order paper for today. But the reason we'd like the court to pronounce itself is there has also been a lengthy mediation process so far, and we've not been able to agree on how, when we disagree on the recommendations from the Commission on Revenue Allocation, how do we proceed? So those are now constitutional legal issues that the court can guide, but I confirm we are willing to sit with the National Assembly and have the discussion. What we propose is we still have a hearing date for this opinion, so that if if that process does not resolve the issue, this court can still guide the parties, because it's not Parliament that's currently suffering, it's the counties, and at the end of the day, it's the citizens. So we propose that we still have a hearing date as that process is ongoing.
Ladies and gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that the operations of the counties are literally at a standstill. Is that not correct? That's correct. You know, ordinarily, these kind of missions are done by the deputy registrar. But I have had to take it over to mention the matter because of the importance and the urgency of the matter involved. We have had a meeting this morning as judges of the Supreme Court. And I want to tell you that we feel reluctant to come into this kind of process. Because, this is a legislative process that the two houses should carry out on their own and finalize. I'm not saying we can't come in. If we have to come in. But I'm telling you that the judges are saying, look, why is Parliament dragging us into a matter that is actually theirs, that they should resolve? I would like to give you a few days, Mr. Mwendo and Mr. Tanji. As I said, you are the main players, and discuss this matter.
My Lord, you started off by saying, if I'm wrong, let me know. Reluctantly, I stand on my feet to say, my Lord, that there are certain aspects that even with all the goodwill from the bench, will not be able to achieve much. All that my learned friends Mr. Mwenda is talking about is one aspect, quantum. There are so many other aspects that my learned friends have raised. We cannot discuss them. And even if we try to discuss them, we'll still be discussing until next year. My Lord, the time has come for the Supreme Court as at the apex court to guide this nation. When so many of my friends say we still need a hearing, it's because we are aware that the movement of the Supreme Court as the apex court must be called to come into that advisory role. My Lord, what we could do with tremendous respect is this. Allow us to have a hearing date. Between now and the hearing date, whatever little aspects that can be resolved will be resolved. But these matters that we have raised will not be resolved. They can only be resolved by the apex court. So, my Lord, maybe instead of a hearing date tomorrow, as you had indicated, let us have a hearing date later in the week. Or even Monday next week. That's what Mr. Kamoto is suggesting. But please do not tell us to go and discuss. That, my Lord, is throwing us into the deep sea, and their huge sharks will perish. Mr. Kamoto says he wants to add something.
My Lord, I think it's also important to be clear that the republished bills do not raise any new issues. These are issues that were mediated and mediation failed. So there is no anticipation that the two houses which were unable to agree on the same numbers after a formal mediation required by the Constitution are now going to mediate again and find a solution. It may be possible miracles still happen, but my Lord, I expect that we'll be back here having failed. And one of the issues that this advisory raises is what happens if mediation fails. And so what we are doing is anticipating a problem because of the crisis, the national crisis that we are in. So in a sense, it's unfortunate that we are asking the court to be involved in a matter ideally that should not be before this court. But it's a crisis that requires resolution of the third arm of government because the other arms of government have been unable to resolve. It's unfortunate, but that is the situation we find ourselves in. And even if we are given time, I can almost guarantee that we'll come back here and say we've been unable because we have been on this path for the last 3 months. Thank you, my Lord.
Perhaps, my Lord, with your indulgence, I can correct one impression which has been created to the public to believe that the counties are deprived of funds. My Lord, a situation like this, and as you have correctly pointed out, was anticipated when the Public Finance Management Act was being enacted. And my Lord, when you retire, you can look at our response. Specifically, paragraph 56. We have clearly indicated that the Public Finance Management Act authorizes access by all the county governments of up to 50% of the amount equivalent to what they had budgeted for the last financial year, as this situation is being resolved. My Lord, it is in the law, and I think the Council of Governors have proper legal advice. My Lord, you will also note that this is not the last time a situation like this have arisen. In the year 2014, the Division of Revenue Bill was enacted and ascended to in September. My Lord, that is a fact, which the Council of Governors can confirm. So, my Lord, it's not that we are in a crisis. We are here because, my Lord, I think even the law anticipates that a situation which is almost covered by politics could reach here, and they have an opportunity to explore what the law provides, so that the governor should not mislead the public that they have closed offices. The law allows them to access up to 50%, and I'm sure the last financial year, which was 2017-2018, all the county governments had a budget which they can access 50%. My Lord, it is the law. So I think that impression going to the public that the politics or the disagreement between the Senate and the National Assembly is crippling operations in the counties is not correct, my Lord. Thank you.
With your permission, my Lord, Mr. Abdikadir would wish to indicate, but before he does so, my Lord, there is no politics in the reference I have filed. They are pure legal issues. My learned friend is being very simplistic. We are not playing politics. We have better forums. We are only coming here for pure principles of law.
My Lord Chief Justice, my learned friend is wrong both on fact and on law. In fact, the counties have no money to go on. And in law, they cannot until the DORA is sorted out. Each level of government must know what its share is before it can then budget for that share. That comes through the Division of Revenue Act. So long as that's not lawfully done, then the counties cannot budget for that. Number two, my Lord, for the benefit of your brothers and sisters in the Supreme Court, it is part of the design of the Constitution that when these two levels of government conflict, then the third branch of government that has the business of arbitrating comes in and does arbitrate between these two levels. So it is really the constitutional duty of the Supreme Court to come in. In any event, there are structural issues that are best served by the Supreme Court in clarifying on these issues. There is a slippery slope of the National Assembly, knowing that the national government can go ahead and function while the counties are attached because of the erroneous view that the national government and the National Assembly and the executive on their own can do the budgeting, contrary to what the law was set by the Constitution and by this. So it's really very critical that the Supreme Court comes in very urgently on this matter. It's really the duty of the Supreme Court. And it's not appropriate for minority front to mislead the court. Most obliged.
Maybe you misunderstood me. I didn't say that we don't want to come. We want to give the parties an opportunity so that if you can resolve the matter, much the better. And if you were not here last week,
yes, sir.
I said, look, we are dealing with the two institutions.
That's true.
With or without this kind of petition, are still going to work together.
Indeed, indeed. My Lord, we would be very happy if these two institutions were able to work together.
Yes, you are going to work. To work together.
Indeed.
The two houses of Parliament are, as it were, married to each other. They can't separate that.
Most obliged, my Lord.
And my view from last week, which is the view of the other judges of the Supreme Court, is that if you can find an amicable resolution of the matter, it will be better for everybody.
Indeed, my lord.
Yes.
Indeed,
so,
my lord.
I mean, we are ready, even if you, I mean, you say, if we were to come to a conclusion that there is no point of even adjourning this matter beyond tomorrow, we are ready to go on even tomorrow.
Most obliged, madam.
It's only that I said we try to give you time. I took time to at least record what Council had have stated to court, and the order of the court is the parties, as the parties appear to unable to settle this matter, I directed that this matter be heard on Wednesday next week, which is the 31st. In the interim, I still urge the parties to negotiate an amicable settlement on all the issues in this reference. Please take time and, take this opportunity and discuss and see whether you can resolve the matter. If by next Wednesday there is nothing, come here ready at 9, we hear the matter and then make a decision. We have no other alternative.
Thank you. My Lord, with your indulgence, I am requesting